Good morning and happy Saturday from Olive and 2U Studios. My name is Michelle. I'm here typically every single Saturday, either recorded or live for the most part. And I'm with Olive and 2U Studios. If you haven't already done so, I invite you to go ahead and subscribe to the channel and give us a thumbs up today if you like what you see. I'm so happy to have you here. And I see some of our Yarny Hues here. Lonnie's here, Julie's here, Maria's here, Tracy's here. Everybody's here today. So happy to see everybody on this beautiful Saturday morning. I will say, Lonnie, you'll have to fill me in a little bit. I have seen some news about some rough weather out in the plains. I hope everybody is safe and staying safe through all of that terrible weather. I think it's expected for a while, which is really, really unfortunate. I saw news of some potential hurricanes and some fires and some things like that. So none of that is good. Hi, Karen and Dion and Rachel and Deborah. I love seeing everybody this morning. It's so good to see you. I hope you're safe and you're doing okay wherever you are and that you are looking forward to a fantastic Saturday. So today's podcast is going to be a little different. It's also going to be a little bit shorter, but I wanted to do a little bit of a life update. The last several months, as you know, have been fraught with all kinds of changes. And so I've kind of hinted at some of those. I've full on told you about some of those, but I thought I would do a podcast and just kind of a big life update and what's going on here with me personally and with Olive and 2U Studios. I've gotten a lot of questions from people. I get text messages and emails and what's going on and what's happening. So I thought I'd do a quick little check-in and give you an update. Plus, we've got two brand new gorgeous colors this week in the shop that I'll also be showing you in just a little bit. So yeah. So I don't know if you noticed, but the title of the podcast today is Trading in the Mickeys. I don't know. Did that make any of you curious? Trading in the Mickeys? What could that be about? Many of you know and have commented that you've seen that I always wear these little Mickey earrings. I don't know. Can you see them? They're little tiny Mickey Mouses. I love them so much. And they're pretty much my general go-to for a stud earring because I live in Florida. Jim and I are annual pass holders to Disney World. We're also DVC members, Disney Vacation Club. And so we're often over there doing things. And we love, love, love Disney. But as you know, I didn't bring my keys over here today. But as you know, I am moving to Maine. Do you believe that? Thanks. Jim's handing me my keys. Wasn't that nice of him? So I mentioned in the Yarny Hues recently that we are moving to Maine. There's my Maine keychain, just to prove it right there. Because if you have a Maine keychain, of course you're moving to Maine. Joking. Anyway, but I'm trading in my Mickey earrings for pine tree earrings. I've ordered myself some sterling silver little pine trees because a tree like that is the tree of Maine. You can see it right there, the state tree. I guess there's state tree. There's another state thing in Maine. I think the state snack is the whoopie pie. I've been learning all about whoopie pies, and apparently there's some controversy over who first put out the first whoopie pie, but Maine claims that. So yeah, I'm moving to Maine, and that is what is happening. So all these trips we've been going up, we've been looking at houses, and I'll talk more about that in just a minute because I know some of you have been really curious about that. We've been looking at houses, looking at towns and cities and places that we might be interested in kind of landing at. And so that's what we've been doing. We've been to Maine now 3 times. So the way this all happened, I thought I'd just share a little bit about it since this is a life update. I'll get a little personal with you. For about 2 years now, we've been talking about wanting to move, and there were several reasons that we were still kind of tethered to the location here in Central Florida. And as we were talking about where we wanted to move, we couldn't figure out exactly what space that would be. We considered North Carolina because we love Asheville and Black Mountain and those areas. We considered Indiana. We considered, let's see, where else? Pennsylvania came up because Jim's from Pennsylvania. We considered lots of different places. And every time that we would talk about it, it was like, oh, that'd be great because X, Y, and Z. And it was like, yeah, but what about this other thing? And so we could never really settle on a space. We would visit with friends and talk to them about it. Several of our our friends that we talked to about moving, they'd help us kind of brainstorm and come up with places to move. Some of them live in Pennsylvania. They're like, oh, come to Pennsylvania. Um, but we could never really decide. Yeah, Julie, trust me, Scotland's come up multiple times. I can't get Jim there quite yet for a move. So yeah, because I'd be there in a New York minute to Scotland to move. Everybody knows that's my long range plan. But anyway, so we went up to visit Jim's son Jamie, who lives in New Hampshire. He lives in Cornish, New Hampshire, for Thanksgiving. And we went to bed the first night we were there. And one of us said, I like this. Maybe we should move here. And the other one was like, yeah, I think so. So I describe it as people say that when you're looking for a wedding dress, you know it when you see it. We knew it was New England when we were there. We just immediately knew. So we talked to his son, and everybody was in agreement that that was a great idea. So then we started looking at property in New Hampshire, but the housing market in New Hampshire, at least at the time, was so tight that as soon as you would see a house go on the market, it was under contract. And that's nearly impossible to purchase a home from clear across the country when that is the state of the housing market. So his son Jamie said, hey, we always wanted to settle in Maine. You ought to look at Maine. It's right next door. So on a fluke, we flew up to Maine in December. We loved it. We put 1,000 miles on the rental car that week, just looking all over Maine and trying to decide where we wanted to go. And we looked at a house up there just for fun because we realized that if we were going to consider moving up there, that the houses are much different in New England than they are in Florida. And so we needed to educate ourselves a little bit more about them. Now, Jim grew up in Erie, PA, so he's aware of some of the differences about living up north and about the snow and winterizing and all those things. But I really wanted to get us educated about the types of homes. I mean, we don't have a lot of basements in Florida because the water table's too high. And in New England, it's very common to have a basement. Yay, more space. So we went into a house, and that was not going to be the house for us. And it wasn't really important because we weren't really serious. We hadn't made the decision to move there yet. And then while we were talking to the real estate agent there, he's like, oh, you guys would probably really like Bridgeton. And so we went back to the hotel that night, and I looked at real estate in Bridgeton and found a house that I absolutely fell in love with. It was a Sears kit home that was beautiful. It was perfect for Olive and 2U Studios because it was zoned both residential and commercial. There was a full walkout basement that was perfect for the business. And so we really liked it, met the owner, really loved it. And then we came home and did some thinking and such and decided, yeah, I think we're probably going to move up there. So we contacted the real estate agent again and contacted the owner of the house. And she said, yeah, come back up if you want to make an offer. So we went back up and made an offer. And then at the last minute, the owner decided not to sell the house, which was a real bummer. So we came home and we continued our search, and we've been searching for a house ever since. The last trip that I made to Maine was because we actually had a contract on a home, and we went up for the inspection because it was built in like 1861, was a really older home. And so we wanted to be present for the inspection. And in the end, we decided that that home just had too many issues for us to take on at this time. Maybe if we were in our 30s, but we're not. So we decided not to do that house. So we came back home, continuing the search. We got a great real estate agent up in Maine, and she's been helping us a lot. She's awesome. I really like her a lot. Maybe one day you'll meet her here on the podcast because I think we're friends now. And so we came home and decided to go ahead and put our house on the market. Well, actually, this last time we saw another house that had just come on the market 3 minutes before I saw it. We raced out there and looked at it, and we missed getting that house under contract by like 15 minutes, which was really a disappointment because it too was a cool house. It wasn't a Sears kit home, but it kind of had that look, and we loved it. Had a basement, the whole thing. So anyway, we came home and we went ahead and put our house on the market because if we're going to move, we need to sell our house. So we'd been talking to a real estate agent down here, decided to put our house on the market. So our house officially, if you're friends with me on Facebook, you saw the post last week. Our house here in Florida officially went on the market on Monday. And we thought, it'll be a couple months. There's a lot of choice here in the Orlando Winter Park area. There's a lot of homes on the market. And we thought, we'll see how it goes. It'll be a few months probably. Yeah. We had so many showings last week, it was almost impossible to keep up with them. We and the dogs were exhausted last week because we had to be out of the house. We had to pre-pack so much stuff to get out of the house, to clear it out for the photos and the videos and all of that. And, we had so many showings that we had to be out of the house and have the pups out of the house at the same time. So we were exhausted last week, but we put the house on the market on Monday, and lo and behold, by Wednesday night, we had our first offer. By Thursday, we had, I think, 4 offers total. And so we chose an offer, we signed an offer, and our house is now under contract here in Florida. Whew, that happened a whole lot faster than we thought it was going to happen. So we called our agent in Maine, and she's like, I guess I better find you a house. And I'm like, I guess you better. So that is what's going on. We are closing on our home here in Florida is set for tax day, April 15th. And so we are working to contract with a moving company, and we expect that we'll be rolling out of town somewhere probably between April 15th and April 20th, depending on how the timing works out. So if I've seemed a little quiet lately, that would be why. That's a whole nother project going on. So that's kind of what's happening here at Olive and Two Studios. Now, a couple other details that I need to tell you about is Olive and Two Studios is going nowhere. In fact, I've got major plans for growth and exciting things in the future. Moving to Maine means there's a whole lot more opportunities up there. Number one, I get to wear a whole lot more hand knit. So I'm very excited about that in the cooler weather. I love cold weather. Y'all have heard me say that 1,000 times. Secondly, I've already spoken to an inn up there where Jim and I stayed on one of our visits to Bridgeton called the Noble House Inn, and talked to them a little bit about doing a retreat up there, and you all would love it. So we'll be working on that. There is the Maine Fiber Frolic event. There's the Freiburg Fair. That is a huge fair. There's over 250,000 attendees that descend upon this tiny village of Freiburg, Maine every year. It's gone back to the 1800s. There are sheep. There are animals. Is yarn. There's all kinds of stuff. So I got plans for that as well. So all kinds of opportunities happening up in Maine. So good question, Julie. Needleworks is staying right here where it currently is in Winter Park, Florida. Monica, who is now my operations manager for Olive and Two Studios, she is going to continue working here at Needleworks and will continue to fulfill shipping orders directly out of here. So I don't see any disruptions in the future for that. Sherry and Terry are dyeing up gorgeous yarn still, and I'm going to get to some of that in just a moment. And they live in Virginia. So it disrupts absolutely nothing. The only thing it does do is open up more possibilities for more events and more fun things. So I'm very, very excited about that. But I wanted to address it because there's been a lot of life changes happening, and I know that I haven't been as present as I usually am. And it turns out I've learned that one human can only do so much in one day, and there's only 24 hours in every day for everybody. So Monica is wonderful. She is the backbone of keeping everything steady and happening here. So things are still being shipped. She typically works 3 days a week. So if your order comes in like on a Wednesday, it might not get shipped till the following Monday. We're going to work on that a little bit, but we like to, get things out as quickly as possible. But I'm looking forward to a very, very smooth transition and all the new things happening in the future. Speaking of all the new things happening in the future, and it's a good thing I have ADHD. Y'all have heard me talk about that because you know what? I can keep up with all of this. By having ADHD and leveraging my friends and Yarny Hues as well. So over the next several weeks, we're going to be rolling out some fun events in the group that I think you're going to love. And we've got some things on tap. I'm going to give you a little hint. Dunedin, anyone? Does that word ring a bell to anyone? I'm just saying, that's all I'm going to say. It's all I'm going to put out there. Good morning, Kim and Kelsey Jane Designs. Good morning. And Star, good morning. Deb is here too. So we've got some fun things that we're going to be rolling out in the next month or two ongoing. So you'll have some fun things happening in the Yarny Hues to keep you engaged. And then I've got some plans for the actual trip. You know that I have a habit of having fun with anything that's going on. And there's going to be a road trip on the way to Maine. So stay tuned. We're going to have some fun stuff going on during our road trip up to Maine to keep you involved and hopefully kind of along for the journey. And I'm looking forward to all of the fun things. So that's the skinny on what's happening with Michelle. She's not skinny, but that's the skinny on what's happening with Michelle and Olive and 2U Studios. So yes, there's definitely been transition happening and there's more transition coming, but it's all really good. It's all really positive. I've already got an accountant in Maine that I've been working with. I mean, running the business from 2 states will be an interesting adventure, but I'm always up for adventure. It's fun. And I'm super grateful to have Monica, who is extremely flexible and very competent, handling this side of things for us here at Olive and 2U Studios. So curious what you think. What do you think about Maine? We love it. It is beautiful in Maine. I have yet to see fall in Maine, but I'm told that it's one of the most beautiful seasons that you can experience in New England. And we do love the snow. I mean, it's cold and it's messy. I've been told mud season is the worst, but I'm going to have my bean boots and ready for mud season. And I'm looking forward to, y'all know I love the tea and all the things. And I'm looking forward to the cozy vibes of Maine. I think it's going to be a lot of fun. Kim says she sees a road trip coming. Absolutely. Lobster rolls and wild blueberries for sure. In fact, one of the houses that we're looking at now actually has a garden already planted. Well, no, it's there. It's under the snow right now. The snow's going to melt, but there's like the garden plot. So I'm really looking forward to that. And also doing retreats and having you all up to the beautiful Maine landscape and weather and all of that. So there's going to be so many fun things happening. The reason today's podcast is a little bit short is because at 10 o'clock, we're meeting virtually with our agent in Maine who's going to walk through yet another house with us. So we may end up buying a house kind of not having walked in it yet, which I was trying to avoid, but we've been up there 3 times. And thankfully, the last time we went up, we didn't come home sick. That was good. We were really crossing our fingers. A good friend of ours, when we came home sick the second time, said, is Jim allergic to Maine? Like, that is not good. That doesn't bode well. So anyway, we're not allergic to Maine, which is really, really good news because we do intend to be there. I can't wait for Christmas in Maine. Anyway, I'm going to get off talking about Maine because I want to show you beautiful new colors in the shop this week. We decided to be a little proactive. One of the things that we typically do is we roll out new colors seasonally, and that's really good. But it's always nice to have them a little in advance so you can knit up your gorgeous projects or crochet up your gorgeous projects before the season so you can enjoy them in that season. So to that end, Sherry and Terry dyed up this beautiful colorway called American Pie, and it is a stunner. Look at this, American Pie. This is on Rawlings at the moment, and I love it so much. There's some great photos in the newsletter this morning for American Pie. And then to go along with it, and I may have made a mistake here. I'm not 100% sure. I'll tell you what the mistake was in just a minute. We have Cranberry Tart that is awesome. Look at it on Wolf. Cranberry Tart, this deep, 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 gorgeous red color. And we also have it on Bronte. I love those colors. Look at that with it. It's so pretty and it goes so well. It's possible that I didn't have as much Cranberry Tart as I thought, and I may have put it online on some bases that I don't yet have in stock, but I will have it in stock. So if you happen to order it on a base that we don't yet have, I'll get that ASAP from Sherry and Terry, and we'll make that all good. So yeah, I love these colors. Cranberry Tart is just stunning, especially on Wolf. It is so beautiful. Of course, when I hold it close to the camera, it kind of washes it out. And of course, American Pie. So if you look down below, I don't know if you've ever noticed the shop link down below, you'll see the products right there. You can scroll through the ones that I talk about on the podcast, and you can purchase them directly from the podcast. So how fun is that? Okay, so let's talk about Scotland for a quick minute. So I met on Zoom, not this past week, the week before, with our Scotland travelers to fill them in on flight information and getting their ETA so that they have their little electronic visa to go into the UK. If you're going to Scotland with us and you didn't get that information or didn't get the newsletter with the details, the video is actually posted in the Yarn Hues to Scotland group right now. But of course, as always, you can just go ahead and give me an email, and I'm happy to help you through that process. I've helped a couple Yarn Hues with their ETA because it was a little confusing. So do let me know. We also have a few more spots available for Scotland. It's kind of fluid. I like to there's a sweet spot of the number of people that we like to travel with to keep it nice and intimate. So we do have some extra spots available. So if you hadn't decided to go and now you still want to, there's still time. Or if you know somebody who you think would like to go, then do send them the information. The link, again, is in your newsletter. We've got a great time planned, and non-knitting spouses always have a really good time as well. So that's good to keep in mind. We got lots of spouses going. They always, find the pubs, find all the fun stuff to do. And it's always a super fun time. So we do have some space for that. Kim says she can't wait till I get it in. So it is available now for purchase on the website. The cranberry tart is. If it's in a base that I don't have in stock, it'll be here really soon, and we'll ship it as soon as it hits the shop. So it's available now for you, Kim, to order. Lonnie says Salinger Pop Club just arrived and it's gorgeous. It is a gorgeous color. I've heard that from a lot of people and I loved it too. So I'm thinking we're going to have to get that at some point on Big Hanks because it is so incredibly beautiful. So Fiberside Chats is tomorrow. The link is in your newsletter to sign up. It is Sandra Gutierrez, not your grandma's crochet. It's all about crochet, and that's super exciting. So the link for that is also in your newsletter today. Thank you very much for choosing Olive and 2U Studios as your local yarn shop when you do that, because it helps us out. It's a collaboration, and it does help us out quite a bit for you to choose Olive and 2U Studios as your local yarn shop when you sign up for Fiberside Chats. That is tomorrow at, I believe it's 1:00 Eastern time, and it will be recorded. The link will be emailed to you afterwards. So if you're unable to watch it live, you'll be able to catch it up at your leisure for 1 week after the recording. So yay for that. Not your grandma's crochet. I love that so much. And I love that the focus is on crochet this particular session. I think that's neat. They're doing a whole crochet month at Longmont Fiber Shop. And I like that. I think that's a good thing. You know that I was a crocheter first. So that's what I've got for you today. I know it's a short podcast, but that is the life update. If you were wondering or whispering about what's going on with Michelle, what's going on with Olive and 2U, so many changes. That's what's happening. I'm moving to Maine. You're going to come along for the ride if you want to. I'm going to invite you along for the ride as we go through the next, 4 to 8 weeks. And thankfully, we've got some great Yarn Hues who are going to keep things running in the group when I'm a little indisposed, packing boxes and doing all the things. So please stay active, stay engaged, and let us know what you're working on. Today, we don't have a whip episode just because of the time, but I'm watching. I love seeing the whips, and I'm looking forward to a knit-along that's going to be happening in April, and then some other knit-alongs and things we've got coming up in the future as well. Thank you so much for being here. I'm Michelle with Olive and 2U Studios, headed to Maine. And if you haven't already done so, I'd like to invite you to subscribe to the channel. Please, please, please give us a thumbs up and stay tuned. Lots of good stuff coming. I'll see you in the Yarn Hues. Take care. Bye-bye.